Okay, guys, here for our media availability via Zoom with Coach Wilcox. We'll start with a question from Jeff Rada.
Hey, Justin, how you doing?
Well, thanks.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, I can, yeah.
Yeah.
The other day when we were talking to Broderick Shaw, he made mention of the fact that I guess CJ Anderson has participated in a couple of Zoom meetings with the running backs. And I'm wondering if you could just talk about kind of, is this strictly an unofficial role, or what is his role with you guys, and what is he able to contribute to those guys?
Yeah, CJ's going to join us in a volunteer position off the field to support our offense and the football staff as needed. So we're excited to have him. He can't coach the players. There's rules for what he can and can't do, but excited to have him here. And again, he'll be in a volunteer role off the field to support the offense and the football program.
What kinds of things can he contribute, his experience, especially in the NFL, but also just coming from Cal? What do you expect his impact to be?
Being a guy that's been through it here at Cal, came here, had a really successful career here in the NFL. A resource for our players, and the experience that he's garnered along the way, I think will be good. And then, he wants to get into coaching, and this is a great opportunity for him to see kind of the big picture of what all that entails, in terms of the off the field stuff, which is a huge part of it, when it comes to engagement with the players and, the scouting and recruiting and academics and all that goes along with coaching outside of the X's and O's.
And just the fact that he was successful in the NFL, does that give his voice some credibility with your guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of guys that try and make that transition once they're done playing. We have a number of guys on our staff who went through that same transition, and there's always it is different going from being a player to a coach, and so I think there is the credibility that have done it. Somebody that's done it and been there and been really successful, and then over the course of time earning the respect. I mean, you have that as soon as you walk in, and then ultimately for the players that you're coaching, it's consistency over time, and that's what they're all looking for. And you're there to help them, and I think he'll do well and probably learn a lot along the way. And like I said, we're glad to have him be a volunteer for us.
If I can ask you a follow-up on a different topic, can you just talk about what Nico's role will be this year? It looks like he's going to play some outside instead of just inside. How did you come to that? Is that just part of Bill's offense, or how does his skill set work for that?
Well, I think both. I think it's the flexibility within the offense, and then it's Nico's skills. So Nico can do some different things for us. I think, especially towards the end of the year, played better and better. And I think he's done a really nice job in this off season of preparing himself. He's very sharp. He loves the game, and he's really taken to the coaching. So excited for Nico as an individual, and then what he can do for our team on offense, and then as a leader.
Seems like he and Chase really developed, like you hinted at, kind of a rapport last year toward the end of the year. How important is that for a quarterback and one of his receivers to have?
I think it's really important, but I think it's also, you got to have that with multiple guys, because, on a given play, the defense could be structured in a way that the ball doesn't go there. The coverage doesn't dictate it that way. So I think got to have that with multiple people, and I know we're working at that now.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Kyle, I think your audio went out. So I think Chris Alvarez had some questions as well from ABC.
Hi, Coach. Can you hear me?
I can.
First off, I want to ask just your excitement level. I mean, we didn't know if we were going to play football. Obviously, now we're back into it. So what is the level, and how are the guys responding at practice?
Probably what you would expect. Everybody's so energized to be back on the field. And after having the shelter in place and then all the uncertainty that surrounded the summer, and then all that, has changed for everyone in our country and across the world. So we're glad to be able to get back on the field. And it took a lot of work from a lot of people here locally in our department, and doctors and administrators and coaches, support staff, to make that happen. So we are certainly appreciative of all of them and the chance to be back out there.
Obviously, you guys are back because you feel it's safe to do so. But when you were watching college football the first couple of weeks around the country, did you almost feel a little left out? I mean, obviously the safety was the most important thing, but did you feel kind of left out?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, it's hard to watch other programs and teams get to play when we weren't able to, but that's not our call. That's not our decision. And some of those things, it's when we don't have control, that makes it maybe even a little more difficult. But we're glad that we have the opportunity to get back on the field, and it's been noticeable the first 4 days. Now we've got about 3.5 weeks to prepare to play. So we're doing our best to get ready for that.
And then obviously no fans. So that game against Stanford is the one, we care about the most here in the Bay Area. Can you imagine what that's going to be like? Just a big game with no fans.
We're looking forward to all the games, and we know obviously the big game means so much to so many people, and it will mean a lot to us. But as I mentioned before, there's just some of these things that we could be frustrated. You have a lot of questions and all that, but it really doesn't do any good. It doesn't serve a purpose. Our purpose right now is to go out there as a team and practice and improve so we can get ready to play November 7th.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, we have a question from Jake Curtis.
Yeah, Justin, over 3-4 practices, is there anything you've noticed that you haven't been able to do that you typically can do in a preseason camp?
Well, the obvious would be the size of the roster during a given practice. We have limitations there. There's some limitations on time. We're in a 20-hour rule, so you have less time than a traditional camp. So the schedule is different. But in terms of the football, we're pressing. We're going full speed on that. We're just going to be real thoughtful about how we get them ready, because it was a different off season. It wasn't a traditional lead up to camp for a number of reasons. So yeah, there's a lot of differences, but once you go out there and it's 11, the rules haven't changed. The game's the same, so we are adjusting as necessary.
Any doubt in your mind that you'll be ready to play a game on November 7th, given the constricted preparation?
No, we're working within the parameters we've been given to prepare to play. Some players are ahead of others in terms of their conditioning. So our job is to get the team ready to play November 7th. That's what we're working towards.
Thanks.
All right, we have a question from Trace Travers.
Hey, Justin. You guys have an experienced offensive line, but you may have a bit of a competition at the left tackle position. Can you walk us through kind of the names there, like Val, Will Craig, Braden Rome played there for you in the spring?
I think, we'll see. When it comes to the depth chart, we have an idea of maybe the 1s, 2s, and 3s right now, but a lot to be determined. Right now, Will Craig's taking the reps at left tackle. He's had a good first 4 practices. So we'll see where that all shakes out. And as we all know, it usually takes more than 5 guys to play a game, or especially a season. So we're working with all of them to improve right now.
And with that, I believe you guys will get into full pads tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Will that allow you guys to have some more of this shakeout?
Yeah, this week we'll start with some full padded practices, not every single day, or I shouldn't say this week. Yeah, this next block of practices, which will be 5. We'll have some full padded practices in there, not all of them. And every day is an evaluation. So even though we may go in shells or spiders for that matter, we're always evaluating everything that we do. But it's really not, we don't want people to concern right now with the depth chart. We're just trying to prepare ourselves physically and mentally as best we can in a short amount of time.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have a question from Jim McGill.
But you're usually pretty guarded on the optimism side. But I just want to ask, in evaluating the lineup in the first 4 practices of the spring and the first few of the fall, do you see some areas in particular that stand out to you as areas that you think you'll be better this year?
Well, I'd hope that we'd be better everywhere, but there's going to be, the dynamics are different. The team is different. We lost some experience, especially on defense at some key spots, some really good players, but that's also opportunity for some young guys. I wouldn't say I'm guarded on optimism. I just don't maybe say it as much to you all. I'm very optimistic. I like our team. I like the chemistry our team has. I think we have some good players. We have some guys that haven't maybe played as much who are going to get an opportunity to show what they can do. Most importantly, just, concerned about tomorrow's practice. There's just so much that can happen in a time like this, as we all know, that we're really keeping that focus, on the day. And I know that sounds like coach speak, but especially in this climate, that's what we have to do. I mean, everything we're doing on the field, everything we're doing off the field, so we have the opportunity to go play November 7th. So, yeah.
What's the domino effect on the offense having a line come back that's experienced and much deeper than it was last year?
Well, the communication, amongst that group, their experience, they've seen a lot of looks on defense. They're working with some new language, but they've picked it up very, very well. Angus has done a fantastic job with them. And so that group should be strong for us, and we expect a lot of them. And I know they expect a lot from themselves. So I'm excited to watch those guys continue to grow together. And there's kind of that mix of some veterans, and then you got some young players. We talked about Will Craig and Cindric McCade, who are younger but have quite a bit of experience. So it's a good group, and looking forward to those guys continuing to grow throughout this kind of October and throughout the season.
Thanks.
All right, next up we have Rusty Simmons.
Good morning, Coach. I don't know if this is a fair question, but I'm wondering, after 4 practices during this interesting camp, if you can compare that to how far along you guys would normally be during a training camp, install, conditioning, those kind of things.
Install is as aggressive or more so because we've had time in this in the last 6 months to do a lot of meetings. Now the actual repetitions and application haven't been there because we couldn't do that. So I would say the install is going as fast as it ever has. The conditioning, guys are just different points. I mean, not everybody is on the same level. In a traditional camp, you might come in, a little bit more even in terms of where the conditioning is, because you've had them for, most really, 2.5, 3 months prior to that camp. So we have work to do there, and how we get them prepared to play, what we're asking them to do in practice. And, the amount of time, as I mentioned, that 20-hour rule limits you in terms of walkthroughs and meetings. So efficiency is critical. Not that it isn't in another camp, but especially in this environment, just us being efficient with our time, their time, how we're practicing, what we're asking them to do, even from a scheme standpoint, meeting standpoint. So that's really the magic there, is trying to be as efficient as possible.
And maybe you just answered this with the install, but I'm wondering if there are any positives to the new protocol. Obviously, you can't have as many guys as normal. The hours are cut, but are you finding any positives in this?
Yeah, I mean, the positives, we get a chance to play. I mean,
Yeah.
as I mentioned earlier, the chance to go meet and practice and walk through. We have 2 different groups, so the individual attention on the group that's practicing is maybe more intensive. It's the practices aren't as long because you have, for example, in our first practice, you have 2/3 of the roster. So you're really taking 2/3 of the rep, whether that's individual, special teams, a team period. So we kind of figure it that way. And then with the second group, it's really kind of 1/3 of the roster. So they're still getting the turns. Again, the conditioning's in different places, but the individual attention on the players has been great because we have separated them. Is it ideal? No, but again, there's really, that's out of our control. And so our players have done a nice job of it, and our coaches are doing an awesome job working with them. So.
And then lastly, Coach, I was going to ask you to do my job for me without giving too much away to opponents. What's the best way to kind of dumb down to the readers the offensive difference they should expect this year?
You'll see, I guess, as you all probably would have noticed just in spring and the history, the term pro style and spread gets thrown out all the time. So if, you'll see some of the pro style sets, I guess that means you'll see tight ends and fullbacks being utilized, but we also have, the flexibility to spread people out. So it's been a lot of fun to watch those guys work together on the installation process, and now getting repetitions at practice, which are just, that's what's gold, is those practice reps, and they're getting better with each of those, and really that's what we need. And I think from your standpoint, if you just kind of looked at the history, you'll see some of those different type of sets and different positions that, from the tight end, fullback, and, two back type stuff, you'll see some of that. And then you'll also see elements of the spread stuff. So I don't know, do with that what you will.
Oh, that's perfect. Thanks, Coach.
Next up, we have Chase Travers again. Yeah, you got one more for me. Sorry about this,
No
but
worries.
I know you can't really touch on, specific injuries in general, but in general, with how conditioning is coming back, how do you feel the health of the team is, and maybe are there some of the smaller nicks and bruises that, you may not expect with conditioning being better in an ideal scenario?
Yeah, so far we feel like we're on a good pace. We're conscious of what they have and have not done. We also have a limited amount of time to get ready. So that right there is the line we're going to be straddling here for the next month. And there's, some days we'll be out there, and maybe we won't be out there quite as long, but we got to get those reps in and continue to push and kind of build that callus physically and mentally over the next month, so we're prepared to play. But so far so good in terms of the injury front, and we'll continue to do what's right by them, and also know that we have to prepare to play a game.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Next up, we have another question from Chris Alvarez.
Hey, Coach, I heard Chase talk the other day. You're obviously playing Washington. He's going to go up against his brother, so he was pretty excited about that. First, what do you think of that? And then also, what are you expecting from Chase this year at the quarterback position?
Yeah. Well, Cal's playing Washington. I don't think he'll actually play against his brother, unless maybe they move him, put him at safety. I don't know. I think he's a pretty dang good quarterback. But anyway, that'll be neat for for them and their family. There's obviously the connection there, so that'll be fun. Chase is doing a really good job. He's, as we've seen over the last couple of years, really grown as a player, and it's all that experience is that he can, rely on for looks and just repetitions in a game. There's nothing like that. So very excited for him. He's still continuing to grow as a player, and it's been kind of fun to watch him adapt and learn in this new offense and working with Bill. So been fun, and just expect him to continue to get better like we do everybody else.
Thanks, Coach.
Next, we have Jeff Rado.
So Justin, on the coronavirus front, I'm curious, what sort of contingency plans or strategies have you guys come up with for how you'll adjust if you have someone test positive or multiple people? Is it any different than how you prepare guys to have depth for the possibility of injuries, or how does that, have you done anything special to guard against and prepare for that possibility?
Yeah, good question. The best thing we can do is make great decisions outside the building and try and control our environment, so we don't put ourselves or others at risk. Probably the difficult part to answer would be, there isn't one solution because the scenarios can grow quickly. And that all has to do with contact tracing and all that, which is out of our hands. That's the doctors and the public health officials. So the best thing we can do is control our environment and limit the exposure to, the individuals in the program and the ones that surround the program. There are just, an infinite amount of some scenarios. So depth is obviously critical. We have it, we have a plan for all coaching and staff members if something were to happen. But until that something happens, it is probably nearly impossible to imagine every scenario.
Is the Pac-12 going to be coming out with some sort of league-wide protocol in terms of if X amount of guys test positive, a team will have a game delayed or postponed or even canceled? Or you expect some sort of guidance from them on those issues?
Yeah, they do have some parameters in place for roster size, players available, and those types of things. So they've sent that to us, and I'll let you guys interview the Pac-12 office so they can share all that. But they have sent that to us, and so we're aware of those parameters. The number of players available at certain positions and all that. And
again, I know you're limited by privacy laws, but are you guys doing well on this front so far?
We are doing well. Again, the protocols and the systems in place that our support staff, doctors, and all, there's just a lot of people that are really helping out around here, which we really appreciate. Facilities guys, strength and conditioning, coaches from other programs. There's just a lot of people who are helping out, and it's awesome, and we appreciate them. As far as the reporting, I think the best way is, talk to Kyle and Herb, how the department is going to report that. I won't be given specifics on COVID cases or reporting, so you can reach out to Kyle or Herb Benenson directly for statistics. But we have been doing well, and it's a team effort institutionally, so we're thankful for that.
Thank you.
All right, I think we have time for one last question from David Bush.
Back to football a little bit, Coach. Have you had a chance to look at some of the backup quarterbacks? Have they, Devin and Brash, and how are they doing so far?
Yeah, we've got a chance to watch all of them, and Devon's doing a nice job. Again, he has quite a bit of experience that he's learned from, and he's a sharp guy. So it's been fun to watch him grow in the offense as well. And then, kind of Spencer, Jaden, let's see here, Robbie, and who am I missing? I'm missing somebody.
Zach.
Oh, Zach. Shoot, Zach. Zach's doing a great job too. So all of them, we've got a chance to watch, and they're all kind of in the mix there to be in that third spot, but learning a lot. The freshmen, Zach and Jaden, just learning a lot right now, and then you got Robbie, who's been here a while, and Spence, who's been here a year. So all do some things well, and it's just about growing in the system, and we'll let that shake out here over the next month.
Just Spencer Pacific. Can you see improvement in him, and how much it helped him last year to actually get some playing time?
Yeah, I mean, playing is really the number one teacher, and so he got a chance to get some time in. He's still a young guy. He's learning a lot, and it's there's a transition in terms of the offense for him, and just kind of learning that quarterback role. Obviously throwing the football, but then there's, leading the offense and getting in and out of the huddle and lined up and making calls. So I think he's learning a ton, but he's still a young player and got a lot of room to grow.
Thanks.
All right, that's all we have today. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all. I'll get my background figured out next time. Appreciate it.
Get Foxy on
Thanks,
that.
Justin.
Yeah, I will. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Jared.
Thanks.